Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today we are talking about why we like to be sad. So, I was thinking about this recently, and a friend and I were talking, and she says something along the lines of well, I'm just in my sad girl era, I like listening to sad songs, and it feels nice. And I want to unpack this because there's a lot of truth in what she has said, and we are to maybe an unhealthy amount obsessed with being sad. We listen to sad songs. We like tragic endings. Sometimes it just feels good to cry in the shower. It's just this weird phenomenon where feeling sad brings us some comfort. And so I wanted to address why this is. I have some actual science for you and some anecdotal advice and ideas and stories and things like that. So, first of all, if you haven't noticed, a lot of culture, television, music, films, just chatting with friends day to day, revolves around sadness, tragedy, depressing things, difficulties, challenges. Life is not a easy, slow-paced stroll. It is a very difficult and time-consuming and stressful thing filled with suffering. Many of the world's religions revolve around dealing with this suffering, dealing with grief and the loss of loved ones and things like that. And in our modern culture, with the technology we have, with social media, with the ability to kind of connect with anybody instantly wherever we want, we are still surrounded by sadness and difficulty and strife. And sometimes it feels really good to almost revel in it, personally, not other people's sadness. I hope you're not out there happily enjoying someone else's grief, because that is concerning and you should consult a professional if that is the case. However, when I listen to a sad song, like a Billie Eilish song or something like that, there's this I don't know, it's almost like this cathartic comfort that I feel. And there's several reasons for this. First of all, the ability to feel sadness is better than just feeling disconnected. I think sadness kind of connects us. When you see something in a show or a film or a story or a song that you relate to, you're like, man, it's not just me. Everyone else has been cheated on or lost a loved one or dealing with personal health problems. And it kind of connects us to the story of life, the story of humanity, the story of, every living creature on the planet that's ever existed. Because we all hurt, we all feel these difficult and troubling things, And to feel something like that is really, really special. There's this quote I want to try and not butcher for you, and it is, sadness is not the opposite of joy, numbness is. And to feel numb, to feel nothing, that is truly disconnecting. That takes us completely out of life, because to not feel anything is really unnatural. To just feel I don't connect with any human, I don't relate to any life experience on this planet. I don't feel human. I don't feel alive. So the numbness, the feeling of nothing, that is, I think, a very dangerous thing. It's okay to disconnect from certain parts of the world, but you are connected to the world and you always will be. Every atom in you came from something, and to disconnect from it is truly, that's where you're truly in danger. But when we feel sadness, we kind of connect with our emotions. I've talked about this before, but the television show Vampire Diaries, it has its problems, obviously. If you don't know, it's about a bunch of vampires. They're all very attractive. They all have drama. They're all sleeping with each other. But in that show, the vampires have the ability to turn off their emotions, to disconnect from everything and just become numb. And they become raging psychopaths that murder everything. They don't care. They don't have any connection to the world. They don't feel any repercussions. One of the characters does this and like even tries to kill their own brother. So that's kind of how I envision numbness. Whereas if you let yourself feel the grief and pain and discomfort, you feel very connected to the world. You are tuned in. You are very aware. So that's kind of how I view that. I view numbness as the real danger and sadness as this thing that helps us connect with life on a deeper level. You know, you can connect with life by experiencing joy and hope and laughter, but you can also very much connect with life through sadness. Here's the science for you. Studies have shown that when you cry, when you feel real sadness, when you listen to a sad song, your brain often releases prolactin, which is a hormone, and it is a hormone that again has a physiological feeling. It has a physiological effect on you, and it can make you feel more like present, connected, and in general, it can make you feel good. And that is why crying sometimes feels good. It feels like, oh, I had a good cry. Like, oh my gosh, we talk about having a good cry. And that's prolactin. That's this hormone in your brain basically saying like, it's okay. You're in a safe place. You can do this. You can focus on this. Which brings me to my next point, is that feeling sadness can be a sign that you're in a good place. You are in a safe place, because when you are experiencing like full-on rage or terror or panic, you're typically not crying. You're typically not feeling sad. Those emotions aren't really rushing through your head. You only experience sadness and this like melancholic feeling when you are in a place that is somewhat safe to do. You know, like if you've been like kidnapped by a serial killer or something, you're not experiencing like sadness or melancholic grief. You're experiencing like terror, panic. Like these are much stronger, much more violent emotions. So we really only give ourselves the time to cry or to feel sad when we feel as though like we aren't in imminent danger. You know, that's typically how sadness works. You know, it's kind of counterintuitive. You don't really think about it like that, but when you dig deeper, you're like, oh yeah, that actually kind of makes sense. Like sadness is this reaction to something happening, but you know, typically it's in the rear view. You're out of danger. You're out of, you know, the actual problem, and you're allowed to kind of process your difficulty, process your grief, and that kind of thing. So those are some of the many ways that sadness can actually be a positive. And for someone like me who's constantly trying to focus on what's good in the world, focus on the good, focus on the present, be happy, joy, laughter, it is important to note that like sadness is an essential part of life. And just to dismiss it or try and hide it or avoid it, I think is very dangerous, because like I said, sadness lets you process so much of your experience, and going through the stages of grief when you've lost a loved one, like that is a very important thing. There are so many stories, messages, and pieces of media that talk about why you need to go through grief and why you need to go through these stages, because you need to allow yourself to feel each step of the way. And some people will obviously experience it differently, but at the end of the day, we as a society make it very clear that you do have to grieve. You grieve in your own way. You grieve in your own particular way. Some people are laughing at a funeral, but we all do something, and we all get through it in our own specific way. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so that's another reason why sadness can be a very powerful tool to get through something that is not necessarily the most enjoyable. So don't discount it. Ask yourself next time, like when you're listening to a sad song or you're going through something very difficult, is this good? Like, how am I processing this? Like, what is going on? And don't feel guilty. Like, we all enjoy tragedy. We all enjoy, like the ancient Greeks wrote famous tragedies and stories that everybody knew were going to end poorly. You know, Shakespeare wrote Romeo and Juliet, and that is a heartbreakingly tragic story that we always relive. I remember when in high school we started reading Romeo and Juliet, my English teacher, who was fantastic, said, okay, I know that all of you know how this ends, you know, and it ends quite sad, obviously, if you don't know. And she said, but let yourself remember that when you start reading this, these characters are alive and they live and they dream and they do all of these things and they like love each other. And that was her take, which I'm very thankful for. And she said, you know, let yourself like go through it as a natural thing. And that's like such a powerful message. Like, even if you know something is going to not end in the most positive way, if it's going to end in sadness and grief, like, if it is inevitable, if you are going to read the book, if you are going to go through those emotions, allow yourself to be present in them. Allow yourself to feel them, because it is the human experience to feel these things and to get through them and to become more wise because of them. So that is my take on why we like being sad. Let me know what you think. Are there any particularly beautiful sad songs that just break you in the most beautiful way every time you listen to them? For me, Taylor Swift's Long Live, the song Long Live, this little necklace thing says Long Live on it. For me, that song is tragically beautiful. I remember the people I've lost in my life, and it's incredibly special to me. So I love listening to it. It hurts in a beautiful way, and it connects me to the people that have passed on. So let me know sad songs that you love that just make you cry or make you feel something, some type of way. Thank you for watching. As always, I hope you're having a beautiful day, week, month, year, century, millennium, whatever you're having. I hope it's amazing. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.